TB&J! TB&J! TB&J!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is Troy Brittingham.
And across from me is Jeff Ackerman.
And it's just us today, buddy. That's it. Nobody else.
But I'm looking at Chris and Dee right now. They're just sitting there. They have their mics in front of them, and they're just not saying anything.
Chris is on the other side of the world right now, and by the world I mean the United States.
America, because America's the world.
Yeah, ask any American. And Dee is off saving the world as always. You know, Superman never takes a day off.
And by saving the world, we mean saving America, because America's the world.
Yes, exactly. But that's okay because they weren't really interested in this week's topic anyway. But
I thought you were going to say that they're not really interesting.
Oh, no. I should have done that, shouldn't I? There's the gold.
I was like, fuck.
Troy, what did we watch this week?
We watched Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills! And maybe we'll talk about Bond. Who knows? But Halloween Kills is the latest movie in the Halloween series, obviously. Jamie Lee Curtis comes back as Laurie Strode, and the supporting cast in the previous movie comes back. Her daughter, Judy Greer. The granddaughter, played by... I totally had it a second ago. Andy Matichak, and Will Patton comes back as Deputy Hawkins, and fucking Anthony Michael Hall's here as Tommy. Like, everything... They got back as many of the original cast as they could, I feel like. And now we have Halloween Kills, which is the second movie in the Halloween reboot franchise so far, right? Would you say it's a reboot? It's kind of just a...
It's like a soft reboot continuation kind of thing.
Yeah, because the same characters are involved for the most part. Robert London is not back as the Shape, Michael Myers.
Right.
Instead, it's a different guy under the mask. I think
that there's two people that they switch back and forth.
That is correct.
And then they have one person who's the old 1978 one.
Yes. There is James Jude Courtney and Nick Castle.
I pay attention during credits. That's right.
Yeah, I'm glad one of us does, because surely I fucking don't.
And by one of us, you mean one of us as in the whole world.
In the whole entire world, yes.
Which is America.
Yep, which is America, as we've established previously in this podcast. But Halloween Kills picks up like immediately after where Halloween left off, back 2018's
Pretty
Halloween.
much to the second.
Pretty much to the second, yeah. It picks up with the boyfriend, what's his name? Jesus Christ, I'm so good at this. Hang on. Cameron.
Hanging on.
Cameron. His name's Cameron. Cameron from the Halloween party in the previous one where he's dressed up as Bonnie from Bonnie and Clyde.
Yep.
He's walking home and he's calling his dad because he's all freaked out, and he finds Deputy Hawkins in the street bleeding to death right where we left him 3 years ago. Barely 3 years. He's just sitting there bleeding out. Nobody picked him up.
It's always weird when they do things that are like right after like this, because they have to now set it where it's like, yeah, it's 2018.
Yeah, 2018, and look at all this stuff going on, and that's why there's crowds everywhere, and nobody cares. I wonder if that's going to be a thing moving forward in, like, movies, where if they show, like, the year 2020, they're going to show people wearing masks and, like, distancing and stuff.
Or, possibly, they just go... It's 2022. And then there's just like a 3-year gap in movie lore, and we're just like, what happened after 2019?
Like the Germans talking about the 40s.
Yeah.
Like, nothing happened. Move on. Everything was fine after 1946. No, but this movie takes place exactly like to the second after, and Laurie and her family.
Wait, what did Marvel know? Because Marvel's now set in the future, because, like, so Infinity War...
Is it the future?
So Infinity War is modern day, whenever that movie came out, I think 2018.
16, 17,
19. No, 2019 was the Endgame. Either, you get the point.
Sure.
But it came out, and everybody gets Thanos snapped. Or half the people get Thanos snapped.
The blip.
Then, yeah, it's Thanos snapping, though. It's the better name. But then they go through. They spend like 5 years. They skip 5 years to the future. After the Thanos snap, and then they have to go back in time, and then eventually they end up in the movie beating Thanos in the present day of that movie, which is like 2025 or whatever.
Really?
So they skip to the future, and now Marvel's like 3 or 4 years ahead of like regular time, meaning they accidentally, before the pandemic, skipped the whole pandemic. What did Bob Iger know? What did Bob Chapek know?
Bob Iger knows a lot, man. And Bob Chapek, I love how it went from Bob to Bob.
Yep, it's a succession of Bobs. They only give it to Bobs now.
Yeah, they only give it to Bob's. Hang on, I gotta go change my name. Be right back. From now on, you can call me Bob, Troy. I need you to make sure you do that so that I can secure my financial security.
All right, well... Do
As
we
president of
want
Disney.
to try the intro again?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bob and Bob podcast.
The TB&B pod... That doesn't
TB
work.
and Bob.
That doesn't work either.
T-Bob and J.
But I'm the B. Who's the J? My middle name is Joseph.
Yeah? I'd be B.A. at that point, Bob Ackerman. That'd be pretty cool.
Baracus?
But B.A. Baracus! I pity the fool
Anyway.
who don't name himself Bob.
But yeah, I'm just saying that Bob Iger knew something.
Yeah, Bob Iger definitely knew something. That's why he fast-forwarded Marvel into the future. I don't think Bob Iger gives two fucking shits what Marvel does as long as they keep printing him money.
Kevin Feige knew something then.
Kevin Feige may have known something. Yeah, he's the genius,
one who
the
cares.
brains. Yeah, the one who cares. Bob Iger's like, am I getting paid? Cool. Keep doing your thing then, dude. Yeah, you funny Marvel nerds. I wonder if he calls them like nerds and geeks. He's like, you geeks keep making me money.
No, but David S. Goyer does.
Really?
David S. Goyer, who's like has a career based off of only superhero movies, basically hates every comic book fan, and like anytime anybody asks him about like any superhero, he's just like, "What do you want?" There's one specifically where people asked if Martian Manhunter would ever be in a thing. And he responded with, "If you know who Martian Manhunter is, you're probably a virgin."
Ooh.
And like he like had like a weird statement where he's like, they only made She-Hulk, so Hulk had something to bang or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
He's like
calm down, John Gruden. There's some contemporary humor for you folks that know what a football is.
Yeah, John Gruden sucks, but David S. Goyer doesn't suck quite that much, but he just really hates all the people who make him money.
Just really fucking hates them. But this isn't about Goyer or comic book movies. This is about Halloween.
Before we move on from that, there was one thing where he said, you'll know that they run out of ideas. Somebody asked about Batman vs. Superman. He says, you know they'll run out of ideas when they make Batman fight Superman. He is attached to Batman vs. Superman. He's the executive producer.
Oh my God. What a fucking colossal wreck of a human being. How can you be that?
He just hates his job, but he keeps doing it because it makes him millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't exactly love my job either, but you know what? It pays the fucking bills. But oh man, that's hilarious that he just shits all over the people that go and see his movies.
He hates all of them. He hates every single person in every movie he's made.
Could you imagine the Wachowski siblings coming out like right before Matrix and be like, yeah, fuck you guys. You're gonna go see it, you fucking nerds.
Yeah, if Lana was like, yeah, fucking Matrix sucks, but you'll see another one.
Yeah, I bet you'll watch part 2 and 3, huh? And if we come back 20 years later and make a part 4, you'll watch that too, I bet. Huh? You fucking nerds.
And
you love your Keanu Reeves.
That is true. We do love our Keanu Reeves.
Who doesn't love Keanu Reeves? Jason Momoa might not.
No, he sucks.
He sucks big time, man.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills.
Yes.
So first thing I want to talk about is after we left the movie theater, we got surveyed.
It's the first time I've ever been surveyed in a movie theater.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Some lady.
So what was your letter grade of the movie?
So that's the thing. As I was doing this with this lady, I feel like she condensed our entire podcast into like 30 seconds of a conversation. She was like, "All right, and if you had to give it a letter grade, and if you were gonna buy it or rent it or pass, and why'd you come see it?" And I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
I really saw your face. There was a moment of panic when she said, "Why did you come to see this movie?" And there's a whole. I looked at your face and recognized that you were like, what do I do? Do I tell her that I'm gonna do a podcast? And then she gave you options, and you were like, "Oh, thank you,
Thank you for the out. I'm not about to tell this like middle-aged woman that's doing a survey for the fucking studio that I was just watching her movie to do a podcast about it.
She goes, what's it called? And you go,
Don't worry about it. It's you probably never heard of it.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
The Joe Rogan Experience. My podcast is called WTF with Mark Maron.
Yeah, we talk a lot about DMT here.
Yeah. And we turn the frogs gay on this podcast. Why is that? Oh, man. If I ever got a redo for naming this podcast, I might call it Turning the Frogs Gay.
We're just gay frogs.
Gay frogs? Oh,
and we're the gay frogs. And this is our lily pad.
Man. Guys, we got to rebrand the podcast. We got to rebrand it.
We'll start a new podcast, the Lily Pad.
We'll start a new podcast with blackjack and hookers and beer.
And gay frogs.
And gay frogs.
And homosexual amphibians.
So I guess real quick, Troy, letter grade, what'd you think?
According to her survey, I gave it a B.
Is that how you really feel?
It's pretty accurate to how I feel. I mean, I feel
Some
like
time has passed.
She really jumped us, yeah. I liked it. I feel pretty similar to how I do in the first one. I don't really think that this is better or worse than the other one, in my opinion.
I feel like they're about on par, yeah.
So if you really like the first one, like you, then you're probably gonna like it.
I do.
If you didn't care about it, you probably won't care about this. It's pretty much the same. Not the same, but there's the problems that I had with it are basically the same problems I had with the other one, where it's like sometimes the dialogue's like a little weird. I think they tried to go for a thing where they're like, oh, everybody's like a little bit quirky and they kind of talk like real life, and there's some lines where I'm just like, that's a little too quirky. But
no, I definitely see where you're coming from with that, and that's a good point. But that being said, this movie's a lot. Oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a lot more visceral than the Halloween soft reboot in 2018. This movie, Mike Myers is just slaughtering people left and right. You see every little bit of it. You see blood pumping out of wounds. You see like a gory half light bulb stick going to this lady's neck. You see so many like different kills happening just left and right.
Yeah, it is better in kills.
It is way better in kills. And then, full spoiler alert, obviously, because you're listening to this podcast, the movie ends on a down note. It ends the way Empire ended. It ends the way fucking Two Towers ended, where it's like, oh no, what's going to happen next? The heroes are on the back foot now, because Myers... The movie ends with the townsfolk surrounding Mike Myers on his home street, and they got like they pull up in cars to like block him in, and there's like dozens of them, and they've all got like clubs and bats and whatever have you, and they start beating the fucking shit out of him.
It kind of hints to putting like supernatural elements kind of back into
which is
Halloween
where
again.
I was going to talk to you about this, because I know that part of the reason, one of the very many reasons, they decided to retcon Halloween's 3 through, I don't know, 16. I'm just going to throw a number out there. You know what? I think 20, right? Because H2O was a thing. So weren't there 20 Halloween
I have
movies?
no idea.
That's a number we probably should know, but we don't. But there was far too many Halloween movies originally. Coming as a guy who really, really loves Halloween and Halloween 2, Halloween 3 took a weird left turn, and it never quite recovered. Rob Zombie did an okay job. In
More
the
like
mid-2000s,
that's the story with a lot of slasher films.
Yeah, because they're just like, you're just gonna keep watching this guy kill people, right? So let's just do that.
Jason went to space.
Jason did go to space. Jason X, that was the 10th movie in the Friday the 13th series.
Still mad it's not a skin in Mortal Kombat.
It's not?
It's not.
They have Jason in Mortal Kombat. They don't have Space Jason?
They don't. They have Jason
Spacin'?
they have they have Jason in Mortal Kombat X, and they don't have Jason X. It would have been the fucking.
That's a missed opportunity.
Easiest layup.
That's the easiest fucking layup. Like you're sitting there in front of the basket. Larry Bird and Shaquille O'Neal are on either side of you, and you can just very easily just go huh and get the point. But instead, you try to fucking throw it yourself, and you fail because you're 5'3" and you shouldn't be playing basketball.
Your basketball polls were Larry Bird and Shaquille O'Neal?
Listen, man, it's been a while since I've watched basketball.
LeBron James is right there.
We did also just watch Space Jam 2.
Yeah, but that's out of my mind. I remember no scenes from that fucking movie.
LeBron's to your right, and Bugs is on your left, and you just
and Bugs fucking dies.
Bugs Bunny died. That was such a weird twist at the end of that movie.
Yeah, killed by Mike Myers. Anyway,
Jesus, man, Mike Myers was he in
Shrek? He was Shrek. And no, he's Universal, not Warner Brothers.
Right. I was like, was he one of the guys in the stands? But no. There was a slasher in the stands.
There was Austin Powers.
He's
Mike Myers.
It was there. That's what it was.
Austin Powers is Mike Myers. He was in the movie.
Yeah. Austin Powers. He was in Space Jam as a cameo. It wasn't like actually Mike Myers. They couldn't afford that.
It was like a image from.
They went in the writer's room and was like, "Hey, I need you guys to go to the Halloween store and put on these costumes and go down to the green set."
We can't fucking talk about Space Jam again. I can't do it. We need to talk about this actual movie that we actually like.
Yeah. So you do like it?
I do like it.
Good. You're very harsh on movies, I feel like.
I don't think I am.
You definitely are. You're definitely a lot harsher than I am.
I feel
I'll say that.
I feel like I have a lot of critiques about it. I don't know if I think that they're bad. There's a lot of feelings I have that would make movies that I like better, in my opinion.
Oh, in your opinion, huh?
Yeah, it's
I'm
all
sorry,
my
I didn't realize
opinion.
I was sitting down with the James Cameron.
I'm not gonna be one of those fucking guys who's just like, yeah, I mean, you can like the fucking Last Jedi, but you have to admit it's objectively bad. It's like, fuck you.
Didn't The Last Jedi have like a really good audience score?
Yeah. This is the whole thing. People like that movie. Like, not everybody, obviously, because it has fucking 7,000 videos about it.
Oh my god, it's like
long.
It's like the most reviewed movie I've ever seen pop up on YouTube. It's ridiculous. But we're also not here to talk about that film either.
Yeah, we're talking about an ongoing series with a better fan base.
I think so.
Is there toxicity in the Halloween community?
I don't delve into it, so I couldn't tell you, but I feel like the Halloween community and scary movies in general, people are a lot more accepting and understanding.
I feel like that's weird that I feel like horror movies don't have shitty audiences on
I actually have a theory on this.
Uh-huh.
My theory is that scary movies in general and horror movies, like, there's such a low bar for what's good because a lot of them are real bad.
There's a lot of bad.
And there's a lot of them that people watch ironically that, like, when a good one comes around, everyone just shuts the fuck up and accepts it. Like, nobody critiques the finer details because they're just like, finally, a good one that's going to make some money and give some more legitimacy to our genre and fan base.
Yep.
Like, we're good with that. That's great. It's not like fucking it came from the deep or some bullshit like that.
Also, I feel like horror fans in general, there's a lot of, like, a majority of people in the horror fan kind of group. There's a lot of people who, like, dig deep and they're just like, yeah, I found this one thing on the bottom of Netflix that nobody's seen yet, or like, this has been in the bottom bin of Walmart.
Yep.
And it's actually a cult classic and we all love it. And like, I feel like there's more cult classic horror movies than anything else.
Oh, absolutely. I think horror films like single-handedly keep cult classics in business. Because that's just I completely lost my point.
They're easy and cheap to make.
Yes, that's what I was going for. They're very easy and cheap to make because, I mean, you just pay an actress to be on screen for 10 minutes and scream a little bit, and then you bloody her up, and then you just move on. You only need like one good actor to carry a horror movie, and that is the killer. Beyond that, you just have victims. And then the one that, like, stops them. You have, like, a deputy who's a loose cannon.
It really
or
is.
A babysitter in the case of Halloween that just manages to derail everything. Like,
It really is the one genre where you're just sort of like, yeah, we don't need to flesh out these characters. People know that they're dead.
Exactly. You really don't need to do much. And that's probably why horror movies are so bad, is because they've got such a low point of entry because you don't need an all-star cast. You can just grab, like, this dude down the bar to just, like, be a guy for 10 minutes before he gets stabbed to death. That's all you need. So when a movie like Halloween and Halloween Kills actually get a cast of characters that are really good at their jobs, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
Well, that's my number one thing that I like about these two movies, the 2018 one and this one.
Mm-hmm.
They both basically like it'll start. It's kind of in a weird way almost structured like a bunch of Halloween shorts until there's like a climax where like he goes into the old couple's house and you basically start with the old couple and then you learn sort of their dynamic and then the kills happen where it's like they sort of set up people who will be on screen for 15 seconds.
Yeah, they do that a few times where they introduce like a family or a partnership or something, and they're doing their thing, they're having their life. Like there's one fan favorites, I'm sure, Big John and Little John. It's this gay couple that have purchased the Myers childhood home, and they now live in it, completely renovated inside. It looks gorgeous. Can I just take a minute real quick? The inside of this new home, after they've renovated the Myers house, looks absolutely fantastic. I love what they did with the bedroom. I love what they did with the spare room and made it into a record room with a couch. And it's just the walls are like this perfect shade of dark green. Anyway, doesn't matter. I was very, very internally pleased with the way the house looked. I'm sorry. I got a little out of control there for a second. I really like interior decorating. I'm sorry. Anyway, Big John and Little John have this dynamic, and the kids are harassing them outside, doing Halloween pranks, whatever. And then they end up getting murdered by fucking Michael Myers because they're living in Michael Myers' fucking childhood home. So they're just in his way, so he has to kill them. But they really do a good job fleshing out all these characters that get killed, like these kids that are harassing them.
And they also do a pretty, probably the best job I've seen in a while. And like it's a little the you know, fucking woke liberal that just talked about Last Jedi. Like there's
what are you talking about? You subscribe to Ben Shapiro and the Crowder guy.
Yep. No. But
are you not in that university? What's it called?
Oh, PragerU.
PragerU. Thank you.
Oh yeah, where you can print out their very real fucking degrees on your printer.
Is that all I need in order to get ahead in this life?
No.
Without all the student debt?
No, if you hand anybody a PragerU fucking degree, they'll laugh at you and
what if I intern for Ted Cruz or Ben Shapiro and I'm just like, oh,
well, Ted Cruz, you're probably fine.
I'm sorry, I completely derailed us. What was your point?
But you'll get a free trip to Cancun with Ted Cruz.
Hey!
But
only during blizzards.
But whatchamacallit? Where was I? Oh, but they did an okay job. But like there's that part of me is like a little bit like it feels a tiny bit like the kill your gays or bury your gays trope. But I'm just sort of like it's a horror slasher movie, so I guess it's whatever. So I got over it quickly. But they did a fairly good job at making them a gay couple, their comedic relief basically. But
a little bit, yeah.
But they're also not like really hard. Like they're not really harsh stereotypes at all.
No,
like,
they're just. I honestly, when I first got introduced to the characters, I thought they were just like roommates or something.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea until like later on. He says "baby," referring to the one John, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's like a little throwaway line almost. Like you didn't even notice it, and like it almost didn't even need to be there. Like and their dynamic was perfect on screen, especially with Michael when Michael shows up inevitably. But it was just it wasn't awkward. It wasn't like forced in. It felt fine.
If this movie was made 10 years ago, you'd be like, okay, you don't need to be like this.
Yeah, maybe. But it was absolutely fine. I enjoyed it. But that I turned to the Ticketmaster there for a second.
The Ticketmaster.
The Ticketmaster has come for your soul.
We were on our way.
We were on our way home.
To this podcast.
I got an email from Ticketmaster about a concert I'm going to soon.
I immediately chimed in. And went, the Ticketmaster. I've come for your tickets. Mission audition for one. So the Ticketmaster will be a rig. Unless everybody hates him. Email in if you hate him.
We're going to lock the Ticketmaster away with Bigfoot and just keep him in the closet.
The Ticketmaster cannot be contained.
The Ticketmaster cannot be contained. He wants your tickets. This got weird, and I'm not even drunk.
I don't drink.
At all? Man, that's great. How do you stay hydrated?
Osmosis? Yes.
You filter out the water in the
Osmosis
air?
Jones. I just
Will
watched
Smith.
Osmosis Jones, and
who was the pill in that movie? It was Will Smith, and who's the other guy?
I was gonna say the character name was Drix. I don't know.
Drix.
It was Ozzy, and Drix was the TV show. Have no idea.
I
who the
forgot
actor
there was a
was.
TV show.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
There's an episode where Osmosis Jones gets pregnant.
What?
Yeah, look it up.
I'm moving on with the podcast.
Everybody watching right now, pause the podcast, go to Google, go to images, and look up Osmosis Jones and Preg. Do it.
So,
Do
the
it.
movie begins. Jamie Lee Curtis is heading to the hospital because she got stabbed by Michael Myers in the previous movie. Her daughter, Judy Greer, is there. I say her daughter, Judy Greer. Her daughter's name is Karen. Judy Greer is the actress. And then the granddaughter's there as well, Allison. And they see fire trucks heading towards the burning house, which was the ending scene of Halloween 2018. And then we see Jamie Lee Curtis is very upset. I'm sorry, Laurie, Jamie Lee Curtis, whatever. Laurie's very upset. She's like, "No, let the house burn. Michael's in there. He has to die." And then we see the house on fire. The firefighters are trying to put it out. First of all, that wouldn't happen. If it's a wooden house and it's on fire, they are staying outside and letting it burn and making sure it doesn't spread. Okay? That's how the firefighters would handle that. And Michael Myers would absolutely
Yeah, but then
be
we
dead.
really wouldn't have a movie.
Yeah, we really wouldn't have a movie. But there's a firefighter walking through the house, and he falls through the floor into the basement, and he sets off his little siren, like, "Hey, I'm down here. Somebody come help me." And then the closet door just busts open, and there's fucking Michael Myers in like a slightly burned mask, and he's just waiting for this firefighter, and it just stabs him through the helmet, dead. Another firefighter shows up, and he reaches his hand down there to get his buddy. Mike Myers grabs it, rips him down there.
When he gets outside, they sort of do like a kung fu movie thing.
That's what I was
where
going to say.
They kind of one by one go after him.
Yeah, so Myers comes out of the house, and it's an amazing shot. The house is on fire, and you see the firefighters at first like looking up and they're like, "What is that?" And then we see Myers stepping out of the burning home with some sort of tool in his hand that he had used to kill the previous firefighter. Some sort of it's a firefighter's tool. I recognize the shape of it. It's like a crowbar
Like
mixed with a
Jaws
pick
of
or
Life.
something. No, the jaws of life are different. They're for cutting open cars.
Right.
I don't remember what this is called, but it's a something. It's a something. It's like a pointy crowbar. We'll leave it at that.
A magic firefighting stick.
Exactly. Good job. Level 4 item. You need a strength of 12 to carry it.
What is Mike's strength?
I'm going to get to that in a second, actually, because Myers kills all these firefighters one by one, and they've got axes. One of them has a chainsaw on him, and he just, like, fucking rips through these guys, turns the chainsaw on the firefighter holding it, rips him to pieces, and he uses his pointy crowbar to stab a firefighter and lift him straight up on the stick before just, like, chucking him like he weighs nothing. And I'm just like, how strong is Michael Myers? How fucking strong is this guy? And I'm wondering, like, they retconned 3 through 20, sure, but, like, are they bringing back the supernatural element where he's just, like, crazy strong and unbeatable?
I think if they make a third one, it's going to be a little supernatural-y.
It has to be, right? Especially with the way this ended, where they literally stabbed him in the back, and Karen stabbed him with a pitchfork, smashed his head on the stairs, curb stomp style. He got up from that like it was nothing, and the whole town is beating the shit out of him.
They shot him 3 times in the chest.
They shot him 5 times, all through the chest. He's on the ground. He gets stabbed right at the base of his neck with a giant chef's knife. Like, this motherfucker dead. But he gets back up. He gets back up and just fucking murders people. So, like, the whole movie is him running through town.
It's a Halloween movie.
It's a Halloween movie. He's going through town slowly, killing a bunch of people. Some of the recurring cast from Halloween 1978. Was it 78?
Yes.
Some of the recurring cast from Halloween 1978 are here as their older selves, which I'm just going to point this out right here. If I grew up in a town where I barely survived a serial killer, the first thing I'm doing is fucking moving. Like, hundreds of miles away. Especially if I know this motherfucker still breathes somewhere. I'm gonna move to, like, Canada or California or fuck it and just move to Taiwan. Something.
And if they have a like citywide reputation that Mike Myers has.
Yeah, exactly. Like if everyone knows the Boogeyman, the Shape, Michael Myers,
Do
etc.
you think that people in this town can't watch Shrek?
Or they do watch Shrek, and in their heads, that's what Michael Myers sounds like if he ever spoke. He gets stabbed, and he's like, "Oh, the fucking hell, donkey! Oh, me fucking back!" That was my Mike Myers. It was very bad.
It wasn't good. It wasn't great.
I need to go to impression camp and study up on my impressions. I'll get better at them. I promise. I'll go away for 6 weeks, and we will. I'll study every impression from Sean Connery all the way through to
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken. Thank you. I was trying to think of a last name at the end of the alphabet. Christopher Walken and Werner Herzog.
Oh, you mean Werner Herzog?
Werner
Who
Herzog.
would like to see the baby?
If you do not attend impression camp, you are a coward.
If you do not
The mic's like barely picking you up. You're like whispering sensually at the microphone, like it's some woman you're trying to bed.
Cowards.
If you listen to the wind very closely, you can hear him.
You can hear Werner Herzog.
Cowards.
So with Halloween Kills though,
It does?
yes.
Okay, cool.
The
Evil dies tonight, Troy.
but then doesn't. It doesn't die. That's
Maybe
that's
the
end of
other
movie.
evil was killed.
This movie does sort of end as like a choose your own adventure ending, where you're
Not-
like,
Does it?
well, you could be like, yeah, they beat him to death in the streets, and
As
he's
if
dead.
you stop
And then-
watching at that point, sure. But if you keep watching to the end,
Yeah, that's the other thing is you could
okay.
if
So
they
it's
come
not
out, if they come
choose
out,
your own adventure so much like a Goosebumps book where it's like turn to page 46 and then turn to page.
yeah, if
50.
if they make a third one and you don't like it, you're just like, yeah, and remember they beat him in the street and he died.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm not crazy about in this movie is the amount of like characters that they set up through all of it that they just kind of kill montage style at the end.
As far as I know, only one of those characters got killed. The rest of them were just like the angry mob. But Tommy is the one who got killed. Spoiler alert.
But then also the mom.
Karen.
Yeah.
She's been set up since the first movie.
Yeah, but no, that's what I'm saying is that we set up in this series.
Also, I don't know necessarily that Karen's dead. Like, if we cut to the next movie and she's, like, getting rushed to the hospital and she's, like, on life support but still alive, I would believe that.
I thought they were going to set her up for a second of being, like, maybe having
The next
a snap.
Laurie.
No,
Or
I thought,
the next killer.
Yeah, because she has that whole thing where she's looking through the window a bunch and she's kind of... She's kind of
They teased
acting
us.
weird at the end, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
They could have done something.
I could see that. But instead they had Michael come back.
But the biggest change in this movie from like past Halloween movies is the whole angry mob narrative.
Yeah, so that was honestly one of my bigger complaints with some of the older Halloween films, especially like Beyond 3, where it's like, this guy is clearly terrorizing your town, has been for years now, body count in the dozens, and the whole town doesn't seem to care? Like, how does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
So in this movie, they've kind of taken that and turned it on its ear a little bit. They bring back the character of Tommy, who was the little boy Laurie was babysitting during the original Halloween, and now he's all grown up, played by Anthony Michael Hall, and he tells a story to like a bar talent show about Halloween night back in 1978, and how he barely survived, and how he wants vengeance on Michael Myers.
Which would be a weird vibe for a bar.
Yeah, that's a weird fucking downer for a bar.
It's not really a talent. So it was a kind of a weird scene, but I'm like, I understand what you're going for, so
Like,
I let it slide.
I get it, and I'm respectful, but like at the same time, this is a bar. It's Halloween night. We're trying to just enjoy ourselves. And like immediately after him, like a ventriloquist goes on and starts telling like jokes and singing a dirty song.
If he went up there, I'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'd be like, boo.
Get off the stage. We don't want to listen to murder.
But Tommy goes up and tells the story about how he barely survived, and he has his friends from the original movie who also narrowly escaped death. And of them, I think most of them ended up dying in this movie. But regardless, Tommy, when he hears Michael Myers has escaped again and is killing again, he like rallies a bunch of people, and he's like, no, this is not going to happen again. We're all going to band together. There's strength in numbers. Evil dies tonight. Excuse me. They say that over and over. Evil dies tonight. Like that became the chant of the angry mob. And the mob rallied at the hospital where Laurie was recovering, and it's just like a huge sea of people. And like the sheriff from Halloween 2018 is back with his cowboy hat trying to maintain order. And, he just can't because the angry mob is like so big and they've taken over everything. And then the fucking inmate that was a throwaway character in 2018 shows back up at the hospital trying to get help. And someone's like, that's Michael. And then they're just on the fucking, it's an angry mob after this innocent guy. And Karen tries to save his life, but the mob corners him and he jumps out a window. And then we get to see that gruesome mess on the ground. And that was awful. But like, the angry mob becomes its own character almost, where it's like you cannot stop it once it's been started. And like the mob is completely Tommy's fault, but he doesn't seem to care. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't really give a shit. And then I guess
Tommy's sort of like George Bush going into a war.
I'm waiting this response.
Who's going into a war on terror and clearly loses.
Jesus Christ!
Sorry,
it is a war on terror. You're right about that.
you said evil dies tonight one more time, and I was like, huh? But we'll just
Jesus Christ. But they basically the evil mob gets redeemed at the end. I feel like. And if you didn't like them, they get their comeuppance anyway.
It's true.
Because so Myers goes back to his house. He kills the gay couple, which is very sad. I love those characters. And then Allison, her boyfriend Cameron, and Cameron's dad, who was Lonnie in the original movies, I guess, which I don't remember Lonnie as a character. But maybe they like retconned him in or something. I don't know. He was a little boy that was out trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I think he's new.
Myers like approached him on the street and then just like left. So he's like, I had a face-to-face encounter. It lived. It's like, okay, Drama King, calm the fuck down. Let's not be hasty. Anyway, so they go into Myers' house. Lonnie goes first, and he gets killed. Obviously, we don't see it happen, but his body is like in the attic door, dripping blood down. It's gruesome as hell. But Allison and Cameron go in to chase after Cameron's dad, and they find the dead gay couple. And then Cameron gets confronted directly by Michael. Michael stabs him a couple times. He's on the ground. He shoves Allison down the stairs and breaks her fucking leg, which was just oof. That sound was just that sound made my like skin crawl a little bit.
They're pretty good at doing in this movie. They're pretty good at doing like. Yeah, somebody takes damage and it's real damage. Like instead of
real damage, yeah.
Instead of like D always complains about whenever somebody gets knocked out in a movie and then they wake up a few hours later and he's like, "You'd have brain damage."
It's like Laurie goes under extensive surgery to repair the damage, and during the angry mob fighting, she gets like bumped into and her stitches open. And now she's like bleeding again, and she's in an insane amount of pain.
Yeah, and she really doesn't do anything else in the movie. Like,
no,
physically.
Laurie takes a huge backseat in this movie. It's mostly Allison and Karen playing up this movie, which, I mean, it's just setting the stage for Laurie to have a huge comeback in the next one and actually kill Michael. Or, I say actually kill Michael, massive air quotes here in the audio-only format. There's no way Michael's actually going to die because they're going to keep making Halloween movies until the end of time, I'm sure.
Well, that's sort of the whole thing with Halloween is every single movie they, like, do a thing that kills him, and you could turn the movie off right there. I was talking about before with the Choose Your Own Ending. You could turn it off right now
Except
and be like,
one.
they kill him. Well...
I think this is... I guess if you turn it off before the last few minutes of the movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying with all of them. Like,
oh, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
The first movie gets shot and falls out the window, and you could end it there, but then you see his body's not there.
Yep.
And like so on and so forth. But like,
That scene with the cops that they showed back to in this movie, was that from Halloween 2?
I don't know.
Or did they retcon that?
I thought that was all new, but I could.
It might be new. My knowledge of the older Halloween movies, with the exception of the original, is a little fuzzy because I've only seen them like once through, and I was half paying attention because some of those later ones are just garbage fires.
We should do
A watch through
Yeah, we should do watch throughs of just like
all the
bad-
Halloween movies.
I'm just saying bad slasher movies in general. Like, do like all the Halloween movies, do all the Friday all the Friday the 13th movies, and
Skipping
then like
the first one.
and then like all of the like Freddy movies or something.
The only slasher series where the original is not the best is probably Friday the 13th, because the original isn't even about Jason; it's about his mom, right?
Yeah, but it's not horrible.
It's not horrible, but like 2 is widely regarded as like the birth of the series, just because Jason was such a runaway hit of a character.
Yeah, as it's known. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
The only thing that I really hate about the first one is that it ends on the perfect note, the best, like one of the best endings of a horror movie, and then ruins it. Because I don't know if you've seen the original Friday the 13th, but it ends with the whole thing is they think that Jason is alive.
okay.
And then it turns out that it's his mother trying to get revenge on all the camp counselors for letting him die. And then the one lady burns down the place that she's in, killing her, goes out onto the lake in a boat, and then a zombie Jason comes up, grabs her, and pulls her into the water. The water settles. Movie could have ended. Then she wakes up into a hospital, and that last part was a dream. And then she's a character that gets killed in another movie later on. And it's just like, if you just had, she gets pulled into the water settles, she's dead, credits start rolling, he is a zombie, you'd be like, greatest ending to a horror movie ever. And they threw it away.
I don't like that.
It's
That
really
sucks.
bad.
That sucks. I don't remember that at all, actually. I may have like turned it off or fallen asleep at that point back in the day. But
And you woke up in the hospital.
But with this one, they flash back to Halloween night, I believe 1982 or something. They allude to it being like Halloween 2 time frame, but I don't remember this scene. But basically, it's a deputy. What's his name? Oh fuck! I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Hawkins, thank you, Deputy Frank Hawkins, and his partner, who's unnamed, I believe. Excuse me.
He probably hasn't. He probably shouted up the stairs at one point.
Probably. But they are in the Myers house, and it's all like dilapidated. There's webs everywhere, etc. The partner is up in the sister's bedroom
Spider-Man was
when Myers attacks him, and Myers has like a rope around his neck. And Hawkins takes a shot to try to get Myers, but ends up going through his partner's neck instead. And then he takes like another shot as Myers is walking away, completely misses. 2 more shots while Myers is going down the stairs, completely misses.
Every shot in the flashback is a bad shot.
Except for the one that mattered where he killed his partner. Like every other shot didn't matter. But it was the weirdest thing. But then he leaves the house and the cops have him surrounded and they like beat him down to the ground, and Dr. Loomis is there from the first movie. Not the real Dr. Loomis. It's like some other actor, or maybe it's like some deep fake technology or something. He's about to execute Michael, and Hawkins stops him. And he explains to Laurie, like, I looked at him and I just kept seeing like somebody's baby boy. That's somebody's baby boy. And I couldn't let them kill him. And then he's like, but now I realize there's nothing in him but pure evil, and he has to die. And it's all my fault, and wah, wah, wah.
There's some weird morals with that in this movie.
Yeah. And also, Hawkins is trying to make it out like Michael doesn't have this obsession with Laurie the way he did in the previous movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, he wasn't even after you, Laurie. The doctor had to drive him to your house. And now in this one, he has no desire to go after Laurie at the hospital, which like, and that's all Karen is saying is like, Michael's coming here. He has to come here. This is where Laurie is. We have to prepare. And that's why they have guards there. That's why the mob is gathering there. But like, Michael never goes to the hospital. Michael just goes to his house, like his old childhood house. And I'm wondering, like, are they retconning everything about Michael now?
That could be an interesting third movie, though. You're actually kind of selling me on a third movie. What if
I hope so, because I think we both know a third movie's coming very soon.
That's true. But what if the whole third movie is Michael kind of just being done for the year, like waiting till Halloween comes around, and Laurie's just like after him because she's like basically like I thought you were obsessed with me. Like, yeah, I'm here to avenge my daughter and my son-in-law and whatever. But really, it's just a thing of just like
I have to end this obsession.
I think that she's more. It's more like he's not really. It's kind of like he's not really that into you. But she's just like, but she just is a crazy ex-girlfriend.
Oh man, if that's true, that'd be fucking amazing. I don't know if I like that.
If it just turns out that she's obsessed with him.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a nice new twist. Don't get me wrong, but like it's always been Laurie and Michael.
Yeah,
and Michael's been obsessed with killing Laurie, and that's always been like the whole crux of most of the Halloween movies. But if it turns out that Laurie is just a nobody, then that'd be really interesting. If it turns out that Laurie is just nobody and he doesn't care about her, you know what? I just sold myself on it. That'd be really cool, actually. Just twist it and just rework everything we knew about Halloween. I'm in.
Yeah, in worst case scenario, you watch the first two again, you're just like, nah, these are the ones where he's obsessed with her, though.
Yeah. But they have to do something to keep reinventing the character because it's just...
Or you end up like some slasher films where you're like, this is the same thing again, but slightly more ridiculous.
Exactly. Which brings us to the end of this movie after they pretty much kill him. He should be dead if he was a human. Allison is like on the steps of the Myers house with her mom, and they're like mourning her boyfriend and boyfriend's dad. And Karen thinks she sees the ghost of Michael's sister, Judith, in the window. So she like creeps back in the house to head up there. And while she's doing that, it cuts back to Michael on the ground, and he just gets up and has a knife and just murders everyone. He murders the entire mob. He murders Tommy. He murders everybody that was there. And then Karen's like up there at the window looking out, and Michael's just behind her and then just kills her. And then she's just on the ground dead. And that's the end of the movie. Like, what the fuck? And I should say, while Michael's murdering the mob and Karen's making her dramatic entrance into the house and all that fun stuff is going on, Laurie's delivering a speech to Frank in the hospital about how Michael is more than a man. She thought he was flesh and blood, but he's more than that. He is fear embodied. He is evil incarnate. He is so much more than a man. And as long as there is fear, there will be Michael Myers. And I'm just like, okay, I get that. But, like, is he a supernatural being now instead of just a man? I mean, clearly you're alluding to that by him not dying from a pitchfork and a chef's knife and bullets and etc. But is he going to go full-on undead Jason-ish? Or is he just...
I mean, he's done it before, basically.
He has done it before, and those movies were bad.
That's what I'm saying.
And they got retconned.
I mean, listen, I'm of the belief that anything can be good with an idea.
I'm of the belief of Scientology. Troy, this whole podcast has been a way of me enveloping you into the family of Scientology.
Oh, that's when all those pills were on the table?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Speaking of cult classics, improv comedy, not Scientology. This is about improv as a cult and not Scientology. I want to make that very clear. Scientology is not a cult. I cannot say it enough. I cannot highlight that point enough.
Jeff isn't referencing anything. Jeff's just really adamant that Scientology is not a cult.
Not a cult. Why would you even suggest Scientology was a cult? That's ludicrous.
Jeff's never even seen BoJack Horseman.
Blip, blip, blip. You were making a point before I interrupted you about Scientology.
I was gonna wonder what your threshold is of.
It's right there.
Oh, okay, I
you're,
see.
You're
it.
in my apartment right now. The threshold's right there.
Oh,
Yeah, you crossed it when you entered my home.
Right.
I invited you in because, like,
okay, that's all I was
like
asking.
most vampires, you can't come in unless I invite you.
Yeah, that's how that works. Can you uninvite a vampire? Never mind, I'm just not gonna go down this rabbit hole. But I was wondering where your threshold was, where you could, if with a ton of, if you put a ton of new stuff into Halloween, are you cool with you said you're cool with Laurie being obsessed with Myers and him, and again,
and him not really caring.
He's not really that into you.
He just kills.
Yeah, it's sort of like a rom-com, but without the rom. Um, there's are you cool with Supernatural Supernatural Mike being
Jason. Sorry, I had to. You can't just leave the door open like that.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna press X to Jason.
I'm sorry to everybody. I'd like to apologize.
Jason.
But are you down for Supernatural Mike Myers?
If it's done right, then sure.
What would be right in your opinion?
I mean,
and your opinion being somebody who hasn't made a horror movie.
yeah, my opinion is somebody who's not made a horror movie, but I've seen a lot of them. Don't make it ridiculous.
Okay.
I don't know how else to say it, but don't try to sell him as like some actual devil, and everybody's just okay with it. I don't know. Like, if
they could also straight up not explain it.
If they don't explain it, I think I'll like that more than if they try to explain it. And because if they try to explain it, they're just gonna do a bad job. There's no way they're gonna do it right.
And then my third one was, this is the Hail Mary. Are you okay with the ghost of his sister being a character?
I think so. I'm not sure. See, honestly, one of the reasons I loved the original Halloween so much is because I don't really go for the supernatural and like religious horror stuff. Like The Exorcist, I could not care less. Annabelle, like bullshit, not having
Well,
it.
if it makes you feel any better, the Exorcist movies or not the Exorcist, the Annabelle movies and the Conjuring movies are about real life people who are bad.
Yeah, sure. But like all that stuff, like I get that it's scary, but like I just don't. It's never really been scary to me. It's more of like a groaning kind of like fuck this shit kind of thing.
I wasn't saying that the Conjuring movies are about real life like kills and stuff like
No,
that.
yeah,
I was talking about the main characters.
The main characters are bad. Yeah. I know what you meant. But I can't get into that stuff. I just can't. And maybe it's because I'm a skeptic at heart, and I just don't care for the supernatural. I don't care for any of that stuff in real life. I'm all for suspension of belief, but I just can't do it. And Halloween was always just really great because it was just a killer. And just a guy with a knife killing people. And that was awesome to me. Like, because he's just... There was a little bit of supernatural stuff implied, maybe, in the way that he like gets around super quietly and quickly, even though he seems to walk very slowly and loudly when he's on screen.
The first one's a little goofy because he just drives a car around.
For a minute he does. Yeah. You're right. It's also like daytime, weirdly, for how.
Yeah,
like,
there's nothing less scary than a car in daylight.
That movie was weird. But like.
But a classic.
I really enjoyed those movies where it's just like a killer, and it's like that could maybe happen. Like that's terrifying. That's awesome. I just
see that's interesting though with you and me, because I feel like I'm more about that stuff because I'm just like, I want to see a guy with a knife. I watch the news. I'm like, yeah, it would be scarier if there was a big ghost man chasing me.
Maybe. I'm curious to see where they take it for the next Halloween movie. It seems like they're leaning into the supernatural stuff. As long as they don't go too crazy with it, I might be on board. We'll see. Because I do really love Michael Myers. I do love the Halloween series, and even if it is supernatural, I'm still gonna fucking see it.
It's true.
They know they have my money. Like,
and you have a podcast now, so you're just contractually obligated to see movies that you think might be bad.
I do have that. All right. Any more final thoughts about Halloween?
Well, this turned into more of a writer circle on
Sure.
blah, blah, blah. But
George Lorper.
We have to cut that out. There's no way anybody understands that.
So in the car,
super inside joke.
In the car, around the same time we did the Ticketmaster bit, which was just hilarious. Troy tried to say George Lopez. And
George
said
Lopez
George
was in the
Lorper.
car. George Lopez was in the car with us.
Yeah. George Lopez is 1984.
We were driving him back. And I tried to say his name to him in our conversation with George
Lopez. And instead
Lopez.
you summoned a eldritch monster.
Yeah, George Lorpers. But but this turned into more of a writer circle on the creation of Halloween 3 than it really was
I mean, what
a review of this movie.
Well, this movie, there's not a whole lot to like. It was a great slasher movie. I enjoyed every murder that happened, and it was great. We discussed the ending. We discussed a lot of the stuff in the middle is just kind of samey, just stalking people, killing them.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think that's it for me then.
Okay, cool. You gave it a B. Is that how you feel?
I think I'm still in the B category.
Okay. This is a solid B movie.
Yeah, it's with Jerry Seinfeld.
With Jerry Seinfeld being sexually attracted to a human woman.
Yes.
That was a movie that we all let happen.
I thought you were just talking about Jerry Seinfeld for a second, and I was confused where you were going with that.
Jerry Seinfeld is actually sexually attracted to bees.
Oh.
He likes having them all over him, rubbing their fuzzy bodies on him.
Is that true? Is that
Yes.
It's not a rumor? It's
sure.
That's a thing that you heard?
Sure.
Okay.
It's definitely a thing I heard.
I think that we can spread that around as fact that Jerry Seinfeld, comedian, is attracted to bees.
I really enjoyed this movie, but then again, I enjoy stupid slasher fix. We can't talk today, buddy, and we're supposed to do, we do this like professionally and stuff. It's ridiculous. It was a great slasher flick. I enjoyed watching it. I always enjoy watching Michael Myers kill people, even when it's bad. I still enjoy those movies, even if I enjoy them ironically. But this movie I did not enjoy ironically.
You can also like a movie, think it's bad, and unironically like it. That's also a thing you can.
Yeah, it is. That's true. But this movie was not bad. Not even like borderline bad. This movie was good. This movie was real fucking solid. I think it's gonna hold up in years to come. Especially as like if you watch Halloween and Halloween Kills like back to back, it'll definitely be like a really good. One other thing I wanted to point out. The credits are a direct homage to the original Halloween movie, and I really enjoyed that with like the jack-o'-lantern on the left-hand side zooming in, and it even had like the old
and they got
font
the same
and
jack-o'-lantern. It's the same jack-o'-lantern from the first one.
Yeah, they kept it in frozen storage all these years.
Yeah.
No, but they like set it on fire and it's like burning from the inside out. It was a really cool imagery. John Carpenter's back doing music, so it's all like the amazing soundtrack you know and love. This is just an absolutely solid movie, beginning to end.
John Carpenter with his old man apathy towards everything in Hollywood. Have you ever seen like interviews with John?
No, I haven't, but it sounds like he's a riot.
John Carpenter's literally like the one thing he hates like pretentiousness, and like he'll just be like talking about a movie and he'll just be like, yeah, he's like, yeah, it sucks. He's like, fucking, he's Ridley Scott think he fucking is, fucking making it. Like, he just
no way.
Fucking shits on like everything in Hollywood, and he's just like, and people are like, why did you decide to do the soundtrack? And he's just like, I'm the cheapest option that I knew for the quality. And like, that's it. Like, he doesn't think that at least he doesn't portray himself as thinking. He's got like a Miyazaki thing going on.
Oh yeah,
where like they're both sort of like, shut up, who cares, leave me alone.
That's awesome. Yeah, this movie was great. I'll probably add it to my collection after it comes out on Blu-ray.
Which is one of the questions on the survey.
It was whether I would buy it or not. I will absolutely be buying this when it comes out later. If you're listening to us at home and don't want to go to the movie theaters because you're not ready for that yet or whatever, it is streaming on Peacock. I don't know what the expiration date on that is, but it's available now. So go watch it.
If you're at this point in the podcast, you've watched it already.
You know what?
It would be really weird if you didn't watch it already. What are you doing?
That's a good point. That's a little bit of a good point there, buddy. Whatever. But that will conclude
except
Halloween
for that,
Kills.
There is that one weirdo who listened to this.
Yeah.
And you know who you are.
You know who you are, you little fucking freak.
We're talking right to you.
Talking right
weirdo.
to you. Right in your ear holes.
You weirdo. Email in if you're a freaky weirdo.
Jesus Christ. On that note, I'm ending the podcast. Thanks for listening to this wonderful podcast. I'd like to thank my partner in crime, Troy Brittingham.
I'd like to thank Jeff Ackerman.
Wow, you didn't do a shitty joke this time.
Not you. It's another Jeff Ackerman that I know.
I see. Okay. If you like what you heard, please leave us a kind review. I'm just going to ask you for it. Leave us 5 stars and a nice review on your favorite podcasting platform.
And say you're a freaky
on your
weirdo.
Spotify's, on your Apple Podcasts, on your whatever you listen to us on. Leave us a nice review. Pretty please and thank you. And you can email us in at tbandjpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what your favorite scary movie is, because there's a lot of them out there.
The Happening.
No, that's no one's favorite scary movie.
The Village.
Resident Evil 8?
Nope.
That's Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, but the Village is
With
also an M. Night
the
Shyamalan.
vampire lady with big tits that the internet like creamed their pants over.
No, I was talking about the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh, right. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next
The M.
time.
Night Shyamalan movie with big tits.
The M. Night Shyamalan movie with big tits?
Yes.
I didn't know there was an M. Night Shyamalan movie with big tits.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge vampire knockers.
Huge mommy milkers. Jesus Christ. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.